In the quiet, sprawling desert on the outskirts of Albuquerque, New Mexico, a chilling discovery in 2009 shocked the nation and unearthed a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. A mystery buried beneath the sand. This is the story of the West Mesa Bone Collector. On February 2nd, 2009, a woman walking her dog noticed something strange poking out of the dusty ground in the West Mesa desert. At first, she thought it might belong to an animal, but instinct told her something wasn't right. She called the authorities. That single phone call unraveled one of the most disturbing serial killer cases in New Mexico's history. The Albuquerque Police Department responded quickly. As they dug, they unearthed more bones, then more and more. By the time investigators were done, the desert had revealed its horrifying secret: the remains of 11 women and an unborn child. A serial killer, hiding in plain sight, had left his grim legacy in the sand. But who was he? No one knows, and that's why, to this day, this unknown murderer is simply called the West Mesa Bone Collector. The West Mesa, an arid, windswept plateau on the southwestern edge of Albuquerque, was the last place anyone expected to become a graveyard. But that's exactly what it became. The woman who made the discovery that fateful February day lived nearby in a newly developed housing complex nearby. After heavy rains, the desert soil had shifted, revealing bone fragments. At first, some thought the remains might be ancient or animal. But as forensic teams arrived and the digging began in earnest, the horrible truth came to light. One by one, the bodies were uncovered, decomposed, skeletal, but undeniably human. By the end of the search, 11 sets of remains had been unearthed. All were women. All had disappeared between 2001 and 2005. Most disturbingly, one woman was pregnant at the time of her death. The desert had held its secret for years. But who was the killer that placed these women there? The West Mesa victims were not random. They shared tragic similarities. 15-year-old Jamie Barella, 22-year-old Monica Candelaria, 26-year-old Victoria Chavez, 24-year-old Virginia Cloven, 15-year-old Selania Edwards, 32-year-old Cinnamon Elks, 24-year-old Doreen Marquez, 24-year-old Julie Naito, 28-year-old Veronica Romero, 27-year-old Evelyn Salazar, and 22-year-old Michelle Valdez, who was 4 months pregnant. Almost all of the victims were involved in sex work or struggled with addiction. Some had lengthy missing persons reports. Others had quietly slipped through the cracks. Their families had begged for attention, filing reports, making posters, asking for media coverage, but their cases rarely made headlines until the bones were found. One victim, Selania Edwards, stood out. She was not from New Mexico, but Oklahoma, a runaway. Her presence in Albuquerque raised disturbing questions. Was the killer traveling? Did he target women across state lines? Once the scope of the crime became clear, law enforcement launched the largest homicide investigation in Albuquerque's history. Over 200 interviews were conducted. Every lead was followed. The FBI got involved, but despite the efforts, no one was ever arrested. Theories emerged, some plausible, some bizarre. One name kept coming up: Lorenzo Montoya, a local man with a long, violent history involving sex workers. He lived just 3 miles from the burial site and had a chilling pattern: picking up sex workers, assaulting them, and videotaping the encounters. In 2006, he was shot and killed by the boyfriend of a teenage sex worker, Montoya, allegedly strangled to death. Could he have been the West Mesa Bone Collector? Detectives believed it was possible, but no solid evidence ever linked him to the graves. Then came the reports of a mysterious white truck. Several women told police about a client in a white pickup who gave them an uneasy feeling. Surveillance footage showed such a vehicle near the West Mesa during the time the women went missing, but the driver was never identified. There was another man who drew investigators' attention, Joseph Blee, a convicted rapist with a violent past, known to frequent areas of Albuquerque where the victims were last seen. Blee had a long criminal history. In the 1980s and 1990s, he committed multiple sexual assaults. Decades later, his DNA was matched to several unsolved rape kits. When police searched his home, they found women's jewelry and underwear hidden inside, and a padlock on the master bedroom door. Police also discovered he had stalked sex workers in the same neighborhoods where the West Mesa victims disappeared. Despite the troubling evidence, no charges were filed against Blee in connection to the West Mesa murders. But to this day, he remains a person of interest. Some theorized the killings could be the work of a human trafficking ring, disposing of women once they were no longer useful. Others believed there could be more than one killer, a partner, an accomplice. Maybe the white truck driver was someone else entirely. FBI profilers warned that the killer likely targeted women viewed as invisible by society, addicted, homeless, or engaged in sex work. This invisibility allowed the killer to hunt without notice for years. After the discovery, the city of Albuquerque faced hard truths. The safety net for vulnerable women had failed. Families like Michelle Valdez's had spent years searching, hoping, only to find the worst. Vigils were held. A makeshift memorial rose on the mesa, but closure never came. In the years following, developers built housing over parts of the desert where the women had been found. For many, this was like a second burial, not of the bodies, but of the justice they deserved. In 2016, the FBI confirmed the case remained open. Tips still trickle in, but no new breakthroughs have surfaced. The West Mesa Bone Collector remains a ghost, his identity and his motive buried in the sand. The case changed Albuquerque. Law enforcement created special task forces for missing persons. The public became more aware of the dangers faced by marginalized women, but painful questions linger. Why did it take so long for someone to notice these women were gone? Why were their disappearances dismissed as lifestyle choices until it was too late? For the families left behind, no answers came, only silence and sand. More than 15 years after that first bone was found, no one has been arrested, no one has confessed. The West Mesa Bone Collector still casts a long shadow over the desert. He left more than just bodies in the sand. He left questions, heavy ones that echo through the wind and into the hearts of families still waiting for answers. 11 women, 1 unborn child, all forgotten by the system until the desert refused to stay silent. Their names deserve to be spoken, their faces remembered, their stories told again and again, until someone, somewhere, finally breaks the silence. Because someone knows what happened out there, and silence protects the killer. If you or someone you know has any information, no matter how small, please contact the Albuquerque Police Department or the FBI. You could be the voice that finally ends this mystery. This is Deadly Details. If you found this story as chilling and thought-provoking as we did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There's so much more to uncover, and you won't want to miss our next deep dive into the world's most unsettling mysteries. Stay curious, stay informed. Till next time.